Hey everyone, welcome to some new malicious compliance stories, where people conform to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. But first, thank you for subscribing to the channel and for all those likes. Today we have 5 great stories, so let's get right into them. Shall we? The first story is called It Didn't Even Last a Night. I rocked a night job at a college for a few years. The job itself wasn't the worst. Many nights there was time for me and my partner to rock on classwork or watch movies. But the place itself and management were terrible. We had a jack-of-all-trades job, as most night shifters do. We'd get calls regarding just about anything, as the thousands of phone lines eventually all rolled over to us. We were also responsible for monitoring security systems and letting guards know about requests. These calls were often to unlock an area for someone or for a report of people being where they shouldn't be. But there were plenty of calls regarding the students. We had separate management from the guards. While management wasn't good by any means, the setup was good because we often butted heads with the guards. They regularly tried to refuse to respond to uninteresting service requests, for example. There were a lot of animosities. Cue our manager rightfully getting canned. They had the bright idea of merging management structures, and it went even more poorly than we expected. We constantly butted heads with the guards manager, and it worsened by the night. Eventually it got to the point where the manager was being malicious, imposing all sorts of new rules. Most were more of an insult than a concern for us, as we were in a separate office and had cameras showing anyone coming near it. We could tap out of Netflix or shove our textbooks under the desk when someone was nearing. She sensed this and declared that we were being lazy with parts of our job, and said we should not wait to send our guard for service to a door alarm. And that's where it got fun. You see, most campuses nowadays on the low end have hundreds of electronically monitored doors. The system knows when the building closes and will let you know if a door is opened after that, if someone forces a door at any time, if a door is being held open, etc. And the manager wasn't wrong. There were, especially early in the night, a lot of active alarms. But my partner and I were good at our jobs. We knew that there were plenty of doors that were broken and wouldn't shut all the way, or that sometimes there are stragglers in the building that left 10 minutes after close. If there was an alarm in a sensitive area or one that wasn't common, we'd send a guard to check it out. But for the common doors, we'd wait until a guard was doing rounds and give them the list of doors that needed to be closed more securely, which some knew by heart because it really was that common. But sure thing, we'll send for every alarm. I think there were 5 guards that night, and we'd had more than 15 alarms right off the bat. Adding to that, there were a number of doors that were just flat out broken, and throughout the entire night would, for less than a second, show us open and then shut. Doesn't matter. The guard who was just there and is now responding to another door that we know is broken can go right back to it. 3 hours in, I had guards calling me, begging to stop with the doors. Some were ready for their nap. 4 hours in, the manager came in asking what the heck was going on. We explained that there were many broken or malfunctioning doors, and for things that were known issues we just dealt with it when the guards got there and let them know it needed to be shut. She pressed for more information until we offered her copies of the emails we sent about malfunctions requesting repairs. Her experiment didn't even last the whole night. We were told to go back to normal. She backed off a bit after that. The next story is called Enter It Manually. This was over a decade ago at a package shipping company. As a loader, I would scan a package and place it in the trailer so it could go to wherever it was going. Easy job. I'd put my headphones in and easily meet the 300 packages per hour minimum they set. I was the second fastest loader in the building actually, with a guy we'll call Rick who worked on the other end of the facility being the first. Every couple of years we get a new manager. This new manager comes in and right away just starts wanting numbers to improve. Anyone that wasn't making their goal, he wanted to make their goal ASAP. He was the type of manager who always found something wrong, no matter how good we did. He was also the type of manager to use the word family, which I hate. We were a family supposedly, even though our reward system was abolished in favor of management meals prior to work. One thing he wanted to improve was the packages that were entered manually instead of scanning them. It made no sense. It was a number that had no impact on anything. But he wanted just one entered by each employee daily, and we complied. Every day I'd do my one. But one day we arrived and apparently there was some miscommunication between the employees about our start time. We arrived at a trashed area with packages everywhere. The supervisor looked terrified. You see, when you get backed up, it's hard to recover. And stopping the conveyor belt only makes it worse, because you take a shot of packages again due to the unload not stopping. It makes for a rough night. So I put on my scanner and directed the supervisor to follow me. I went in the last trailer on the belt, and me and a coworker went straight beast mode and saved the night. Hardest night's work outside of the holidays, honestly. I clocked out after and went home. The next day I arrive and the manager pulls me to the side. I figure I'd get some appreciation for my efforts. Maybe some recognition in the form of a sheep head or something. Nope, he rips into me. Why didn't I key enter my one package? With all those packages yesterday, I had the opportunity. Claimed I was being lazy and had the union rep around so he could give me a verbal warning. So with my saying it won't happen again, cue compliance. I key enter every package that night. Did not scan one. At first my supervisor thought it was funny, but when the area took a hit I kept going. He asked me to stop and I said no, I'm still doing my job. The manager came with the union rep outside my truck, but even entering the tracking numbers manually I was over the 300 packages per hour required. They couldn't touch me, even though I normally do over 200 more per hour. The night ended and my supervisor came to talk to me. He said that was impressive and gave me a sheep head. I laughed and thanked him. I commented that I definitely got the most key entered packages that night. My supervisor looked at me and smiled. Nope, you are second. Rick beat you by about 50. The same exact thing happened to him. And I was still second place. But I got my head at least. The third story is called Route X. I used to work at a car manufacturer whose name rhymes with wonder. My job was to pick up trains of carts full of parts from the warehouse with a motorized cart puller, take them to a section of the assembly line and take the empty cart back to the warehouse to be refilled. There were about 20 of us doing this job, all on a different route. The way the factory was set up created a narrow path that only a single train could fit through at a time. This bottleneck was shared by 3 routes, which made it nearly impossible to complete Route X, the furthest, in a timely manner. We had scanners that told us exactly which train of carts to pick up next and which empty carts to collect. As you may have gathered by now, Route X was not popular with us worker bees. If you followed the scanner, you would regularly fall behind while you waited for the bottleneck to clear. The solution us worker bees came up with? We combined a couple of small trains to reduce the number of trips we needed to make, saving us time and allowing us to keep up with the deliveries. All was good until management clued in on what we were doing. We were told that the scanner tells you what to do, we don't pay you to think, follow the scanner. I happened to be assigned Route X right after we got chewed out, so I thought okay, I'll follow the scanner. I watched as the number of reserve parts at the line dwindled. Did I care? Nope. I was following my scanner. By the time management noticed, my route was down to less than 5 reserve parts at the line. These are used at a rate of 1 per minute. Did I care? Nope. I was still happily following my scanner. It took 3 managers helping out to get Route X back up to an acceptable state by the end of the shift. And when they asked me what went wrong, I said, I don't know boss, I was just following my scanner. The company investigated the layout of the routes and did some reorganization to avoid the bottleneck. It took a couple of months, but Route X was finally fixed. The next story is called This is His Direction. Back when Compaq made laptops with mechanical hard drives, they came out with a model where, if bumped even a little a certain way, it would dislodge the hard drive from the connector. The results would be a call to the help desk that the hard drive had failed. Help desk would route the equipment to the depot repair section. I was help desk manager, also over depot repair at this time. One genius tech came up with the idea to wedge a bit of folded paper behind the drive to keep it in place, and so I had all the techs start doing this anytime we touched that model. The IT director received somehow the CEO's, his boss, laptop on which the hard drive had failed. It had really failed as she had dropped it while the hard drive was spinning. Upon taking the cover off, he discovered the folded bit of paper. He made a trip down to the elevator to my office with equipment in hand, thrust it on my desk in front of me and demanded to know what was going on with that. I explained, no, that's unacceptable. If Compaq had this fatal flaw, they needed to fix it. My team needs to not be engineering solutions, especially such a shade-free solution. Send any that fail back to the manufacturer. I explained several issues with that, primary of which was at the time a 2 to 3 week turnaround. But no more tinkering, send them to Compaq to be fixed properly. Cue the malicious compliance. I explained the issue to the depot techs and they all got the hint. Every second computer that came in for anything started going to Compaq for repairs. Quicker than I thought, though probably 3 to 4 weeks, complaints were flowing into me from the IT director and even the COO about the slow turnaround and no equipment. I was summoned to her office and found myself under a bus made by the very angry IT director in the other chair. "What's going on?" demanded the COO after methodically explaining that the company needs PCs to be working. "You think?" I explained that we are no longer allowed to engineer solutions to complex issues, so we have to send many of our machines to the manufacturer now. I went on to explain how I like to let the techs use initiative, with oversight, but not anymore, as it's not a proper fix if we do it ourselves, per the IT director. This is his direction, and we are just following orders. Stammering ensued from the other chair. I was thanked and excused by the COO. The IT director came to my office later and apologized for interference with my leadership. He was gone within a year, and that was my next promotion. The last story is called The Magic Power of Compliance. In the early 2000s, I worked in the UK for a huge American insurance company. I managed a team of 10 to 12 administrators. The job was dull, the people were mainly great, and it was a steady place to work. Now, with this being a US company, the benefits package was poor compared to most UK rivals. Things like paid annual leave and paid sickness were the statutory minimum it was legal to give in the UK. I had this guy join my team who I shall call Dan. Dan was about 23, a bit of a plodder, definitely just there until he could find something better, and I couldn't blame him. One Monday, when he'd been there for about 3 months, he didn't show up in the morning. I was initially unconcerned, but when he hadn't called or shown up 45 minutes later, I started looking for his home phone number to check if he was okay. Right then, my phone rang, and it was Dan. He told me that on Friday night he had gone out with friends and got really drunk. When he got home, he decided to deep fry some chips on the stove. He fell asleep, and when he woke up, the pan was on fire on the stove, black smoke billowing everywhere. Now, I think I would just have run out, but as he was pretty drunk, he decided to open the kitchen window in his apartment and throw the fiery pan outside. He managed to get boiling hot fat all over his dominant hand, fat spilled all over and caught fire, so he ran and called the fire service. On the way out, he grabbed his wallet, coat and 3 CDs. Along with the clothes he had on, this was all that survived. He was really upset and told me he had no insurance for his possessions. He was going to be off sick for some weeks. The doctors thought he may need a skin graft on his hand. I told him to leave things with me. I would sort stuff out at work and would call him later. I called our local HR team, who said there was very little they could do. Due to his length of service, he only had 6 paid sick days left. He had taken a few already. I was shocked. I asked if we could bend the rules. No. Is there a fund we could donate something to him from? No. Feeling that this was really mean, I called HR in our head office and got the same answers. Very shortly afterward, I got a call from our local HR manager, Claire, who was usually nice with me. We were on some of the same staff committees together. But today she wanted to know why I had tried to go over her head, yada yada yada. She said that the sickness policy was clear and I had to follow it to the letter. Did I understand? You bet I did. You, malicious compliant. I filled in all the paperwork to send to Claire, some of it authorizing the deduction of Dan's pay as he would exceed his sickness benefit that month. I think Claire was surprised I had rolled over so easily. I wasn't known for that. About an hour later, I sent her an email asking her to proofread a poster I had created to go on one of our committee notice boards. It was all about Dan and what had happened to him, and suggested ways the different teams could raise some money to help him out, as he had nothing and unfortunately wasn't entitled to any sick pay. I immediately got a "please don't progress this any further just now" email from Claire. Half an hour later or so, she called to let me know they were granting 3 months paid sickness leave initially and a goodwill payment of £5,000 on behalf of the company to help him get back on his feet. Dan was amazed at the magic it worked, and Claire was pretty fussy with me for about 6 weeks. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.